Russian minister says Western schools teach children that Jesus is bisexual. Nothing but love for my Lord and Savior, okay? Okay.
What?
On June 28th, Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia, claimed that the Western educational system teaches children that Jesus is bisexual. And also non-binary, actually, is something he claimed. He published an essay on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs website claiming students are being taught that Jesus was bisexual and non-binary. According to him, quote, a number of Western countries are responsible for introducing such information, adding that enlightened Europe is leading the charge, promoting aggressive LGBT propaganda and I can't say that on YouTube. Okay, something else that's more seriously hateful towards LGBT people. Lavrov, who has maintained a high approval rating, was appointed by President Vladimir Putin to manage the United Russian Party. He has also served as foreign minister for 16 years. Kenji is saying, but is Jesus a top or bottom? I bet he's a verse bottom.
Oh my! Why? Okay, I have a question. How does this guy get his job? Like, first of all, what is he on about? Like, what is he even referring to? Like, first of all, are they actually teaching that Jesus is bi? Because that's pretty cool if they are. Like, I don't understand.
Well, he had other claims against, these Western cultures or enlightened Europe, because he was saying that they are boundlessly permissive and they're constantly encroaching on international laws and claiming that, the world's religions are under attack and the US is at the forefront of attacking religion, which Rivka and I were talking before the show about this. And Rivka, would you like to say what your comment on that was?
Oh, yeah. When we were talking about the U.S., it's interesting because the U.S. of the Western countries is the oddball because it's so much more religious than so many other Western countries. So that's really just interesting to me and silly. And he also was talking about this, like what he called boundless permissiveness. And, things that were bordering on encroaching on international laws. I don't know what international laws he's referring to at all. And also including the very nature of humanity. So he's really making these hyperbolic claims.
No, I mean, homophobic. Extremely
homophobic, but also hyperbolic that, they're pushing the boundaries of humanity. There's international laws. But what's interesting is there were people were talking about the sources for this. And there's been many that were cited as the root of it. But one of them is this particular TikTok video of this Australian mother who is apparently listening in on her children having a little conversation. And these are supposedly things they learned in school. And the girls the children are saying, they can be heard in the videos, concluding between the two of them that Jesus is bisexual because he loves everyone. And he is
logic.
And he is non-binary because he is a man who wears a dress.
Wait,
these are children's sort of understanding of it, which I think is interesting. But I don't know if that's the source, but that's something that people were talking about potentially as to where he got this, distilled down to this craziness that, who knew Jesus went either way for a box of chocolates.
No, well, it's actually funny because the spokeswoman for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, she denied that TikTok was the source. And instead, she cited this play by a British playwright called The Gospel According to Jesus, Queen of Heaven, which is about Jesus being a trans woman. So I think that's what they're talking about. But
so he doesn't even understand the difference between bisexuality and gender identity and stuff like that.
I think, though, what he's trying to say is really the way that in some Western societies there's a level of free expression that allows people to make art or jokes or write novels that push the boundaries of what people think is either acceptable or traditional. And I think that's sort of where he's going with this boundless permissiveness, that there have to be some, box that you can't step out of, because this play is like that, that it's a piece of art that imagines this particular type of lifestyle for a figure. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be Jesus. I mean, there's many ones. And there were other movies that got into the same kind of, criticism that envisioned different things for Jesus. A movie where he was involved with Mary Magdalene, or a movie where he's questioning God. There's all these things. And so I think that, that the play for sure, but also I just thought that TikTok video was interesting, because isn't that what they always say about him? He loves everybody, and
Can you read this? Read this.
No, he didn't say, but this is a great comment from Katie. Just chef's kiss. Katie is saying Jesus is surely a masochist. Like, come on, his kink involves getting whipped by a guy dressed as a Roman centurion. I mean,
no insult to Jesus, no kink shaming. That's fine if you're into that, right? But if you are into kinks like that, don't try to sell it as saving humanity, okay? Just admit to everybody that this is what you want and you enjoy it. You don't have to misrepresent what you're actually doing. Anyways, go.
Save us all the headache, okay? And admit that you just like what you like. And it's okay. We're here for it. We're supportive. Oh man. Well, you know what? This actually, to me, echoes a lot of Russia's, infamous bans or laws against what they call like homosexual propaganda, which is basically their way of completely obliterating any queer representation, or actually like committing queer erasure, like on a state level, by not permitting like just education about issues that the LGBT community faces, or maybe advertising resources available to them. It's promoted homophobia to a very violent and deadly degree in Russia. And I think this is one manifestation of that. I mean, there's like two things. One, it's like an anti-Western sentiment, obviously, but then part of what's coming into this is like this defense of the religious, saying like, well, these like Westerners, they're so crazy that they're coming after what you hold most sacred in this way. Look at how they're trying to denigrate it. Look at what they're even telling their children, this twisted thing. Can you believe it? So it's like a defense of the sacred to promote anti-Western sentiment. That's how I'm seeing this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I love how this backfires, because this is supposed to be anti-American message, but ends up coming off as anti-Russian government, right? Like, you're like, what the hell's wrong with you guys over there? Like, you're behind the rest of the world. You're like, oh no, they're teaching that Jesus is bisexual. Like, they're seeing that bisexuality as an insult, right? So like, oh my God, they're teaching dangerous. They're promoting bisexuality. Oh no, hide your kids. Like, guys, this is not a good look. I don't know if you want to embarrass the United States, you're embarrassing yourself, right? So that's embarrassing, first of all, for you, Russia, not for the United States. And second of all, the fact that this guy is this is like, I see this guy a lot because he keeps dealing with Iran, right? Like, he keeps meeting with Iran's officials, and he's like a very important figure in Russian politics. And he's just talking like about something without, like Rivka mentioned, where did he get this from, right? Even though we don't think it's wrong or anything, like, first of all, these are myths. You could play with myths all you want. You could make Jesus a woman. We actually did that. We made Jesus a trans woman. you could make Jesus whatever you want, right? Like these are not real things. You could change stories as you go, right? But he's like, in United States, they're teaching children this, like, and where's the source, right? It's either some children that came up with some conclusions, and or was this play that was not even bisexual, it was trans. Like, people went and looked to see where he's getting this information from, and there's nothing. So he just, this is your politician, Russia. Like, this is the most serious politicians is coming up with conclusions based on no evidence and no data. This should worry Russians. Like, okay, what other views this idiot has based on no information and no data? Like, this is like ridiculous and funny and embarrassing all at the same time. But what if he's coming up with other conclusions that could impact Russians in more even serious ways based on no information and no evidence? Like, I would be very concerned as a Russian right now if this was my foreign minister. Okay, so embarrassing for Russia.
Well,
Let's, save Russia from these idiots.
I would just like to say I would be ecstatic if they were teaching children in the U.S. that Jesus was bisexual and non-binary. I wish.
Right. Wait. Yeah. It would be Pigeonkin as well. I don't know, because he turns into, he's a Holy Ghost.
No, the Holy Ghost is a separate entity.
No, they're the same thing. Pigeonkin. Jesus is Pigeonkin.
Well,
Okay.
it is and it isn't. Don't get into the Trinity right now.
All right. All right. Anything in the live chat you want to highlight while I get the next news?
Well, there was a funny comment from Ion. Let me see if I can find it. Ion is saying, Jesus, call me on Sundays.
And actually another thing, it's so, I hope people understand, like, oh, he loved everybody, that therefore he's bi or whatever. I hope people understand that's not how bisexuality, like, I hope most of people, like, we didn't touch this because we assumed that most people understand that that's not how bisexuality works, right?
Hey guys, if you're a fan of Blasphemy and Sexy Callie, like me, then you need to be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below. Because if you subscribe, we will send you a free copy of our Blasphemous Art ebook. And let me tell you, it is the tastiest blasphemy that you can find anywhere available today. And we are so generous with our blasphemy that we continue to send you more blasphemy every week. So make sure to subscribe, link in the description below.